Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo's banners could be some of the best this year. How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video, and we are just a couple of days away from the reveal of the Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo animations and kit details, and I can't tell you how excited I am to cover this. Now, in the meantime, while we wait for this information to come out, I wanted to take a little bit of time to kind of predict who I think is going to be likely on Gohan and Piccolo's banners, right? We already know, thanks to the JP info and the global producer letter, that it will be a dual Dokkan Fest banner in line with previous JP New Year's celebrations. So we can use that information to really narrow down who's going to be on the banners, because it tends to follow a pretty decent pattern. So if we go ahead and hop over to 2 years ago, the Piccolo and Janemba's Dokkan Fest banners, these two here. I think these are the easiest way to figure out who's going to be on the banner, because they follow a standing precedent for New Year's banners, right? If you look at previous years of the Super Saiyan 2 Goku and the Majin Vegeta, for example, you start to see the pattern. Last year's banners with the Goku and the Kid Buu are a little different, and we'll address that later in the video, because if they decide to follow this pattern, then it really changes things and might actually make the banners worse. But we're going to assume that they're going to follow the previously established pattern. So if they do that, if they follow the pattern that was set prior to Piccolo and Janemba, we could see the Beast Gohan and Orange Piccolo on their banners, along with the return of the 7th year LRs. And you can see that because the year that Piccolo and Janemba released, right, that year's anniversary LRs were on their banner, right? On Janemba, you had the 5-year Vegito. On Piccolo, you had the 5th year Gogeta. So it makes sense, right, when you think about it, because on JP, when this went live, it had been 6 months already since these guys had returned. So makes sense that they would throw them on this banner, right? Because prior to that, their recent time was Tanabata, which is in June for them, or July rather. So makes sense that the 5th years return that year. And if you look at the previous year with the Super Saiyan 2 Goku, you see the same thing. The 4th year LRs were on their banners as well. So makes complete sense. That it will be really good, because I'm going to assume if we say that this is Gohan's banner, for example, this 5th year Gogeta here is going to be the 7th year gods, more than likely. I think will be the ones on his banner, and then on the other banner with the Orange Piccolo, probably the Super Saiyan 4s, if they follow this pattern. Now, the next unit, I'm unsure what the pattern is. It seems obvious, but it could be one of two things, right? So it could be a pattern related to the character that was there, or the pattern could be a gap of 2 years, right? Both patterns fit. If it's related to the character, right? This is the LR Gogeta. Right here, makes sense. This is LR Gogeta for the 5th year. They put the 3rd year LR Gogeta. If it's the 2-year gap, then it still fits, right? Both of these fit the thing, right? If it's the same over here, right? With the Vegito, this is Vegito, right? So if it's related to the character, this makes sense. But if it's the 2-year gap, then this also makes sense, right? Looking at the previous banners, it's the same thing, right? You have Super Saiyan 4, the 4-year, and then you have the 2-year gap with the 2 years. Same thing on the Vegeta banner, right? But it could also be related to the character, both being Super Saiyan 4. So hard to say which exact pattern it is, but either way, it does help us narrow down who it is. If it's going to be a 2-year gap, well, then it's going to be the STR Gogeta here in his place anyways, right? So you'll have the LR Gods and the STR Gogeta. On this side, you'll have the LR Super Saiyan 4s and the Tech Vegito. And it makes sense that these guys would be here because I have a feeling there's a good chance they could show up again during the anniversary, and Easy A there as well. So, would be kind of cool to have them back, especially because neither on Global or JP have they returned recently, so I would believe them to be the ones. Now, it could also be related to characters, so if it is the LR Gods, actually, in this case, it still makes sense to be the Gogeta here. Actually, he still fits the category. However, on this end, if this ends up being the Super Saiyan 4s, I could actually see them putting maybe both Goku and Vegeta LRs here, and then throwing another LR here with maybe the Vegito, right? Since that would be the only other thing that would make sense for me. But I think that's the likely scenario. The guarantee here is probably the 5th years, and the 7th years, I think, is the likely outcome. Now, as far as who else could be on the banner, well, we can see in both previous years, right, that you have the Golden Week units on there, as well as some previous New Year's celebration units on here as well. So if we narrow this down, we can figure, all right, one of these banners is going to have the GT Duo. I'm going to guess maybe whichever banner has the Super Saiyan 4s on it. So one of the banners will have the GT Duo. I don't think Trunks and Zamasu will come back, since on Global's case, they have, actually, even on JP2, they were both just recently on a banner. So I would imagine Trunks and Zamasu may not actually be on these banners. Neither the Gotenks and the Boo. What I think the likely scenario is, one of the banners will have the GT Duo, and the other banner will have the STR Goku and the AGL Cell. And then one of the banners, I do believe these guys are coming back. The Fizz Broly and the AGL Gogeta. I have a very strong feeling that they will be on one of these banners, simply because it is the most recent movie-related banner. Now, as far as who else could show up on these two banners to fill out the rest of the roster, it actually really makes sense. They will probably bring, where are they? Tech Ultimate Gohan and Fizz Piccolo, I believe, will be the last units on the banner, simply because this does mean it makes sense, right? If you pull Gohan and Beast Gohan, they're going to be a good chance. There's a good chance they're going to be good linking partners, so they will probably put them on one of the banners. And then the Fizz Piccolo, same thing as well. Those are the two Dokkan Fest related characters that they could throw on there. That's kind of how I see this going. And then they will definitely have the previous New Year's units on here, just like they did with Piccon and Janemba and all the others, right? So you will probably see Super Saiyan 2 Goku and Kid Buu on here as well. And I think that'll fill out the banner, right? That's 10 units on each banner, and, right? 10 units, right? Because we'll have the Beast Gohan, we'll have the 7th years, more than likely the 5 years, the Duo unit, right? Whatever the Golden Week is, the Goku, and then the Gotenks and Buu for one of them, I think is probably how it will work. And then on the other one, you'll have the Piccolo, you'll have the STR Piccolo. Yeah, so that fills. So 10 units, I think, is going to work here on this banner, and I think it'll be interesting if they decide to go this route, right? It'll be a really, really good banner, especially if you're a newer player. Like, you're going to fill out a pretty good team here, and it's another chance to get the 7th anniversary LRs. Now, the big question is, what if they don't go that way? What if they don't follow this established pattern and instead follow a different pattern? Well, it'll still be roughly the same, but slightly different. Now, how it'll be roughly the same is if they go this way, right, and they follow the pattern set by Goku and Kid Buu, then, well, let's say this is Gohan's banner, right? You'll have Gohan, your main headliner unit. You will have the STR Vegito here in this place. I think he would be next in line after Gohan. So you would have him. You would have, instead of the LR Go Bros, this would be probably the Blue Boys on this banner, and then you would have last year's New Year's units. You'll have one Extreme Class unit from this past year. So if I had to guess, maybe Ginyu filling this role, or Raditz. It could be Raditz, actually. And then the Golden Week units for 2 years prior. So this one would be the GT Duo, and then the Saiyan Day unit, so Majin, Vegeta, if they follow this pattern, right? Now, if they don't follow this pattern, obviously it's better case scenario, but this was actually the worst pattern because it makes the banner significantly worse, right? Because this ends up being the Blue Boys, and then you look over here, right? You have, this would be the Piccolo here, this would be the Boo Tanks, this would probably be Gogeta, and then you would have the previous Boo, so this would be Boo. Ultimate Gohan would probably still be on here, and actually that means one of these guys, this might not be yeah, Ultimate Gohan would probably be on Gohan's banner, and Piccolo would still be on. I have no matter which way they go, I feel like he'll be on a banner. And then you'll have your Golden Week units, and then another filler unit. So, not the best, I think. They could try to spice it up, but I really think this format is the worst format. Even though there's less units, they'll likely fill it with less hype units. They did this last year because all of the big LRs ended up returning on the anniversary banners. So these banners ended up being actually really, really bad. Versus years prior where the banners were actually really good leading into the anniversary. So I kind of think they're going to go this route. There's no way they give us a bad banner with Piccolo and Gohan. At least that's how I think it's going to go, honestly. I could be wrong. I could be over predicting. I may be being a bit too optimistic here, but those are just kind of my thoughts on what I think it's going to be. So again, just one last time before we wrap up here, if this ends up being the format, right, we'll end up having, say, Beast Gohan here, we'll have the 7th year LRs here, the 5th year LRs here, the Golden Week units, the previous movie units, so the Gogeta and the Broly, and then the previous New Year's units, along with Gohan and Piccolo, Tech Ultimate Gohan and Fizz Piccolo. I think that is the most likely setup, and hopefully I'm right. We'll know more information as we get closer to the drop, and since it's going to be a big celebration, there will probably be a banner animation in the data download, so we may get an idea around the time of the data download. So anyways, guys, that's my thoughts on the banner. If you liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let me know, who do you think is likely to be on the banner? Do you think I'm onto something, or do you think I am way off? Do you think I'm over predicting? Would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.